Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melissa Caprio.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. It's Wednesday. I love Wednesdays. I love doing my show. I have the most fascinating guests on, and today I have Debbi Dachinger, and Debbi is fascinating. She's a journalist, and she shares extraterrestrial and shamanic information and where they intersect, and she is going to join me here in just a few minutes. To my regulars, thank you so much. I really appreciate you listening each week. It means the world to me. And if you're listening to me for the first time, say you came on because you knew I was having Debbi on today, I want to say welcome. I hope that you tune in to more shows, and you can always find out anything about my shows. We put every show up on all the podcasting platforms. It's on my website, postcardstotheuniverse.com, and it's also on Own Times Radio in the archives, and there's always a description about the guests that I have on the show and what we're going to be talking about on that day. So I hope that you keep returning. A little bit about me. I'm a photographer. I'm an author. I have a book titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And it's all about manifesting. I do it using a visual component and art. I have people create manifesting postcards, and I share those when the reality shows up in their life. And that's what's in the book. There's 30 of those stories. And I've also taken some of the manifesting postcards that I've received, and I've created an oracle deck out of them, and I have 56 of those, and I've been doing oracle readings daily, and I share those. They're short videos. They're about 3 minutes long. I share them on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So if you're interested, please check them out. It's a daily affirmation, and if you find it, you need that message. That's how I feel about it. And I'm also doing short videos, like 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, just talking about inspirational things, just trying to add more good things to the world, inspirational things that make us feel good about our lives and what's good about the world, right? Because we get to see every day what's bad about the world. So let's put more good things, because there's a lot of good things going on, and there's a lot of interesting things going on, which leads me to my guest, Debbi Dachinger. So she hosts the 18-year award-winning Dare to Dream podcast, focusing on extraterrestrials, channeling, UFOs, shamanism, and cutting-edge spirituality. She's a certified shamanic energy practitioner and lead singer in the band Lions of Lyra. Debbi facilitates powerful private and group shamanic healing sessions. She has been interviewed several times on GAIA TV, George Noory's Coast to Coast Radio, and over 2,000 media outlets. She has spoken at the World Congress UFOlogy event, Portal to Ascension Glastonbury UK conference, and so much more. She's a journalist for extraterrestrial and shamanic information, and she bridges the ancient and the extraordinary, where shamanic practices and extraterrestrial encounters intersect. She has written several international best-selling books and leads online and in-person shamanic healing experiences. Unlock your cosmic potential with a phenomenal, she's offering this free starseed video and report for an engaging exploration that explores many starseed species in depth. Learn your galactic origins, discover your star lineage and celestial ancestry. So to find out more about Debbi, go to her website, debbidachinger.com, and I'm going to spell it since we're on radio. It's Debbi, Debbi, Dachinger, Dachinger.com. Welcome, Debbi. Thanks so much for being here with me today.
Yeah, Melissa, thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you. So how does one become and do the work that you do? Like, where did this connection with the extraterrestrial and the shamanic, the ancestry and all of that come into your life? Was this something that you've always been tapped into since you were a kid, or is it something that you sort of found later on in your life?
One has a very unexpected and profound awakening. One is on a path which seems to be very happily going in one direction, and I was quite spiritual, but there were many things I was not into, and I had this incredibly divine experience. I had a divine energy come to me 4 nights in a row, and out of nowhere, this divine energy was saying, Debbie, you're a healer, you're a shaman, and you're a priestess. I had no context for these words regarding me specifically. So I argued, and I argued for my own limitations, right? But
right, that's what we do.
We do that. What are you talking about? I'm not this, I'm that. But and it was a very feminine energy, Melissa. She came back night after night and very lovingly expressed the same over and over like a mantra, started showing me aspects of myself. And when I came on the other side of this profound experience, I started to get help because I was confused. And the help brought me so far. But after the help, I started to do what I do best, which is research, become the journalist. And the journalist aspect took me so far. And after that, I started to enroll in programs. What does it mean to be a shaman? What does it mean, all these different aspects? And getting into shamanism with some of the greatest shamans around the world and becoming certified, I found a lot of past lives in me, both on this planet and off planet. And I also started to find out this thing that I had judged previously, which was UFOs and extraterrestrials, was quite real. And there were many aspects of me and galactic families connected to me, waiting for me to come online. And this opened up a whole new world.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to let you explain a couple of things. Most of the people that listen to my show probably already know a lot of this, but just in case people are like, what are they talking about? So first, what is a shamanic practitioner? What kind of work does a shamanic practitioner do? We'll start there, and then we'll get into more of the extraterrestrial stuff.
So specifically what I do is I can access other realms, and I can allow a shamanic lineage to come through me. I call myself a hollow bone, meaning that if I get in the way and I start thinking I know what anybody needs, I'm pretty gifted, but that's not my best winning place with somebody. So for me to get out of the way and let this entire lineage flow through me, I facilitate big time changes for people, big shifts, chakra clearings, cleaning out their luminous energy field, connecting them to the ancestors and to the beings who look over them so they can start walking the path they came to do, but also clearing out what we call hucha, dark, heavy energy, dense energy that does not help us. We may be carrying around from past lives, or we've taken on from our lineage and said, we'll be the ones to heal it. We clean all of that out so you can go do the big work you came here to do. And I want to say, I do always follow shamanic with practitioner because I don't come from the lineage in this lifetime that other shamans do around the world. So I call myself a shamanic energy healer or practitioner, but I thank those beautiful shamans who came before me for teaching me the way.
Oh, yeah, because you're not in this life, in this body, you don't have a direct lineage that's coming in the bloodline. But from a previous life, you're saying that there was did you lead a life as an indigenous person, maybe in another life? Did you have a life like that?
Yes.
That's so
Melissa,
interesting.
many times on this world and off this world, because there are a lot of shamans and indigenous people who come from the Pleiades, and specifically a planet called Maya, M-A-I-A. And there's tremendous amount of indigenous people. That's their inception in life.
Right.
And that they came here to teach us how to respect the earth, how to respect nature, how to respect the animals and all of life. When we say we are all one, that's where it comes from originally.
I believe that 100%. And that's why, when people say certain things about, well, you shouldn't, because you're not from that, you don't have that bloodline lineage. I always think in the back of my mind, well, maybe not in this life, but I'm sure in another life I did, because I do feel like we've all experienced many, many hundreds of lives, and we've all been born having a different human experience, but we are all connected to the one source and all together. And I love the fact that I see, even though we're seeing a lot of dark stuff, I see us more consciously moving and elevating. Would you agree? Do you see that too?
100%.
As a collective? Oh, good.
Yep. And it really is our job. I mean, when people get down with what's happening, by the way, understandable, our souls agreed. I'm going to come into a very dualistic world and dualistic humanity. There's going to be love and beauty. There's going to be hatred and violence. But my soul is saying, oh my goodness, I did Atlantis, didn't work out so well. I did Lemuria, oopsie. And many... Right?
Yes. Original... I love the way you said it. Didn't work out so well. I love that, though. But yeah, go ahead. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. Yes. Original human blueprint is from the planet of Lyra or Lyra, however you want to say it. Lyra.
Okay.
And so our original blueprint had such difficulty. The Draconians went after us. They desiccated our people, they destroyed our planet, and we became refugees to other planets. Original human blueprint, we know wars. And so all of us said, these big, beautiful souls said, put me in line. I want to come back at this time because I'm going to get it right. So indeed, it is our job not just to move toward the light, but to be the light in the face of darkness. That is a big part of each of our missions.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do a follow-up with that. So Lyra or Lyra, however you say, how do you say it? I'm going to say it the way you say it. How do you pronounce it?
I say Lyra, like
okay.
The old Greek instrument, Lyra,
okay.
But this is Ly, yeah.
Okay, so Lyra. So that's another planet that that every human, that we came from? Is that the lineage or the extraterrestrial lineage that we have with the extraterrestrials is from Lyra originally?
Exactly. And we all have the genetics too. And science proves that we have extraterrestrial genetics, every single person walking around. So these people in the stars, and there's a billion different species, we have thousands of strains of genetics. But Lyra was a constellation. And it included the avian beings, the lion, bipedal beings, the feline beings. We have this inside of us.
It's interesting. Sorry, it's interesting that you say that because you're not the first person that I'm hearing this more and more from. I recently talked with somebody who channels the praying mantis. At the praying mantis aliens specifically. And I thought, and I had never heard of that before. And I was like, well, that is really interesting. So this is fascinating. And it makes so much sense because for people to think that we are the only species in the whole galaxy, let alone millions of other galaxies, is just crazy, right? To think that, but we're all from one source. So how did you start tapping into the extraterrestrial, like connecting with them? How did that happen? Or what is that? And what is that like?
It started with some past life regressions, Melissa, because I came back from this 4-night divine experience utterly confused. And I said to a friend of mine, my goodness, the divine is showing up and saying, I'm a shaman, ? I'm a priestess, ? And I'm a healer. No, I know healers. Healers come on my radio show, but I've never identified with that. My friend said, tell you what, let's do some past life regressions. Let's just see what shows up. The first time he led me through, I had a profound and beautiful experience seeing myself as a male. I know where I was living out in the plains. I saw the little beautiful teepee I was in, all the animals I had befriended. It was a very solo life. And I came back at peace going, got it. I kind of am getting the connection. The next time we did a session, I went in. Now, this was utterly different. I saw myself in a very modern, high advanced technology temple. I was a Mayan priestess. I was a leader of my people. I was over 7 feet tall, extremely slender. And I was so poised. Her name was Nedra, and she could do things I'd never seen any human be able to do. And before I left her beautiful presence, I asked her, how do you do these things? Well, I mean, how in the world do you manifest and create? I made a grand assumption about her, and she shook her head, raised a finger, and telepathically said to me, I'm not from here. I am from another galaxy. And I came out of that experience. Now, previously, I was incredibly open-minded skeptic. I was a big eye roller when it came to ET information.
Yeah.
I thought it was all bunk. And I came out of that session and I said, oh my God, I have been extraterrestrial in different lifetimes. And then I started to dig. What does that mean? Who are these people? What are all the different people? Then I started doing galactic Akashic record readings, having them done for me. And oh my word, starting to find out I had originally been Elohim and very close to God and a being that could create other planets and species. And then I went to Andromeda, and then I went to Antares, and then Lyra. And then after Lyra, the other planets I went to. And somebody was able to say without knowing me, I can tell you what you look like based on this. I can tell you that communication, that you're going to be a leader in this lifetime, and using your voice for singing, for speaking, for the radio, for writing books, most important thing to you because you're carrying this on from other lifetimes. This was mind-blowing to me, but also really edifying. So this was my foray into this world. And Melissa, once I opened up, I was 100% in and hungry for more and more, going to events, speaking, all of it.
I believe it. And I do think that there's some people, that are just once they open the doorway, there's such a channel for that kind of information. And I think a lot of us are getting there, maybe a little and slowly, but there are certain people that just are paving the way for the rest of us, right? To open up more, to be receiving these downloads that are coming from other places, past lives, higher wisdom, whatever you want to call it, Akashic records. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but it's coming to all of us, and having these conversations is how we're bringing it out to the world. So when your mind must have been blown when you had all those experiences. I can't even imagine, Did you at first think like, am I making this up? As you're going through the past lives, or did you feel like right from the get-go, no way, I know this to be true?
I knew it was truth because I'm a tough cookie. And because in the past, people had tried to hypnotize me and it didn't work. It was actually a really bad experience and I had to stop them. They'd start to hypnotize me and say, look down at your feet and what do you see? And it was the worst. I went in my head. This guy was completely different. He had a beautiful way of bringing me into an experience. And it felt like, Melissa, I left my life and walked into a door into another life. And for that hour and a half that he allowed me to be there, it was like I was living that being's life. So I came back and went, this is true. Plus, I was such a non-believer in ETs. So when I'm showing up, and it turns out, by the way, years later, I come to find out the species I saw, over 7 feet tall, very skinny, massive manifester. This species exists on other planets. And I'm just amazed at how all of this unfolded. I know when this happens like this, it's divinely orchestrated.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the name of the species? Do they have a name? Do they have a name that you could even pronounce in English?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it's Yakubian. It's something like Yakubian, and they have these gorgeous tree homes that they live in. They're very at peace with nature. And so then originally they started there, and then they went to the Maya, which was interesting because I was Mayan on this planet in this lifetime. And then there's the piece about our ancient history. What happened to the Mayan people? How did they suddenly disappear once they were here and then they were gone? And that is because they fulfilled their mission and they went back to their planet.
What was their mission? Is that back when it was the Lemurian times and all the Atlantis, those times, and then we didn't do what we were supposed to do, so they left? Or was there a different mission?
Yeah, very different mission. And when you follow ancient history, it's fantastic, the artifacts that they left behind that all point to the way. And I think it's the very thing that we are supposed to learn right now, that we are so deeply disconnected from source, from nature, from each other, animals, plants, sky, moon, all of it. And that's how they lived their life. That's how they were so advanced in telling time and knowing seasons and all of this. And so their message, so much for us, is become one again with. Take a moment to go put your feet in the grass and ground. Connect with the beautiful, powerful Mother Earth. Don't just go on the busy life, because it's not why you're here. Reconnect with each other and the animals. So they were here to teach us about being one with. There's a lot we could say about the Mayan people. They were certainly not perfect, but they were amazing at ritual and ceremony. Many of the things we've gotten away from that are profoundly important for humanity's healing at this crucial time.
Now, are a lot of the extraterrestrials here right now trying to help us elevate the planet from different galaxies? Like maybe walking around, I don't know, in a human skin, but they're really like from somewhere else to try to like kind of help us? Is that happening?
They very much are, Melissa. And it's interesting because there may be times when you're walking around and you have a moment you think, what did I just see? Or what was that? Or that didn't feel ... And the thing is, because they can change their frequency, they allow us to see something we're comfortable with, which is a very human, much like us form. But those of us who are sensitive walk around and go, something isn't quite human there. And you're right. You have to know there's so many benevolent beings rooting for us, because what happens on Earth impacts not just the rest of the galaxy, but universes. They don't want the wars. They want us to survive. And plus, factor in the fact that they are scientifically proven to be our cousins, brothers, sisters, and even our children. They want to see us succeed. They are invested in us. We are well protected, mostly from the malevolent, because this question always comes up. What about
that was gonna come. That was gonna be my follow-up. So thank you for intuiting that.
They do exist. They really do.
Okay.
But we're protected. We are very much protected. You know, there's spacecraft that are above the Earth. They make sure that the planet and we are protected. And there is some infiltration. I just want to acknowledge that. And I think we know where that comes from when we see the greedy corporations and some of the politicians. Yeah. And when that feels uncomfortable, there's a reason. And still, be the light you came here to be. You are that powerful. And know that you have so much backup. When you say, oh, my angels protect me, the unseen protects me, believe me, part of the unseen is, whether you know or not, your loving galactic family. And they are us, the advanced version of us, watching after us. They're also our lineage. So know that you are so protected, loved, seen, taken care of.
Thank you. That's beautiful. So I have to ask this question. There was a time, and I haven't heard it so much, and I talk to a lot of people like you, people who channel the extraterrestrials and all that stuff, but there was this time where a lot of people were claiming that they were taken and are very fearful by the extraterrestrials for scientific purposes without their consent. Is that a true statement? Did that happen? And if it did, is it still happening?
Great question. So this answer is yes-ish.
Okay.
So some
Okay.
of it is 100% correct, and I'll even talk about the ish part. Yes, there was quite a period of time where human beings were taken. They were taken with the government's permission. Yes, you can do this. The species, almost 100% of the time that was doing this, were called the Greys. The
Yeah,
Greys
that's
still
what
exist.
Now, the Greys, that's what I thought.
The Greys are great scientists. They're master geneticists. The Greys had a great reason for doing what they were doing. Because and I want everybody to hear this, who pushes down their feelings, denies their feelings, and chooses not to express their feelings, here's a great reason why to start doing that instead and become healthy. Because the great beings literally said, as a species, if we were only to take these darn feelings out of our species, we would function much more efficiently and not have all these distractions. They genetically mastered themselves to have zero feelings. Very sadly, what happened to the Greys with zero feelings, they were not able to produce children. They were not able to exist. And slowly but surely, their species began to die out. They did not want that to happen. Now, the Sasani beings, like if you guys have heard of Bashar, the beautiful, my friend Daryl,
I've heard of Bashar,
he's amazing. And he channels Bashar. My other friend, Tyler Ellison, channels also the Sasani beings. They are part Greys, part human. So the
interesting. Okay, I'm going to have you hold that thought because I want to hear much more about this, and I don't want to, like, when you're in the middle of a sentence, stop. So let's take our break here, and then we'll continue this conversation when we come back. I'm so fascinated. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on Om Times Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives. Welcome back. So, Debbie, I was thinking all about this during the break. This is so fascinating. So we're going to jump right back in. So we were talking about the Greys and how the Greys, you know, had no feelings. They I guess, how did they get rid of feelings? I don't even know how you do that. Birth it out? Like, you just, like, how does that even work? I can't imagine as a human not having feelings. And so they're dying out. And then they started with another species. Is that what happened? So go ahead. I'll let you fill in from there. Yeah.
Perfect recap. And how they do it specifically is through genetics. And so, yes, they start dying out and they realize our species must continue. We need to come up with a different plan. And so the plan is twofold. One is, let us abduct some humans. And by the way, probably not just from this planet. There are probably other species and other galaxies that look delectable to them for many reasons. But why was Earth beings primary? What do we have? Right? Feelings, big emotions, ups, downs, highs, lows, perfect species. So to blend with us. So we had, many women had seeds planted in them, and at a certain point, before fruition of the pregnancy, they had those babies removed. Many men also had things done to them, and they also used their sperm to create babies. Those babies then grew up, now not just on their spacecraft, because remember, they have no feelings. They had to be with beings that would love them. Many people on Earth have memories of being the mother, being brought oftentimes onto the ship to mother or father to parent their own children. It's a really big deal.
I've heard that.
So that's
I've heard that.
One, yes.
Crazy.
And I want to finish addressing this with the ish part. And the ish part is where people say against their will. Now, I want to be very compassionate that I can't imagine that experience. And what I know is that they had a soul contract, these people, before they came in this world, in this lifetime incarnation, to say, I will participate in this species program. Doesn't mean it was fun. Some of them it was. It wasn't a problem at all. But for some of them, it was terrifying. I got it.
Sure.
And then the other piece of it is that, yes, while they are creating new species with us on Earth, they're also involved in an off-planet hybridization program, which means Gray's human becoming Sasani. And there's different strains of us that they're playing around with. So there's two programs. Some of them went to other planets and became other species. But by the way, they are all us in the future, way far in the future.
Wow. That's just so fascinating. And now that I've, over the last so many years, I've really kind of looked at soul contracts deeper and deeper into why things have happened historically and why, certain things occur and certain tragedies, and understanding that now the way I do now, I can see what you mean when you say soul contracts. And yeah, you want to be careful because, somebody's going through a traumatic experience. It's not their human self saying, okay, I want to have this happen. It's much bigger and deeper than that. And, but it's fascinating to think that's what's going on, in our universe and in many other universes, and how we're all so interconnected is like, how does that even work? Like your human brain can't wrap your mind around it.
Yeah, there's the famous novelist Whitley Strieber, who's just incredible. He's been on my show. And in the 1980s, he wrote some very famous books that changed his life because the world wasn't ready to hear it. And they were called Communion, right? So Communion was his first book where he started talking about these terrifying experiences waking up in the middle of the night and little gray beings in his house,
Yes.
taking him against his will aboard a spacecraft, the things they did to him, etc. Now, this was his platform for many years, how traumatizing PTSD this was for him. Now, here we are. He's an 80-something-year-old man, extremely articulate and brilliant. And today he has a very loving, very deep relationship with the Greys. They wake him up every morning at 3 a.m. and say, come meditate. And they bring him through otherworldly experiences and meditations. He has entire conversations with them. He now thanks them, knows that they're his family, and understands what that was so many decades ago. So there are people also like him who take the time to get to know what is happening, why is this happening, and understand.
Right. Yeah, I love that's kind of the evolution that he had. And I do know somebody personally, a friend of mine who has had an experience and thinks that may have happened to her, but her daughter for sure says that she believes it happened to her. So I'm going to have to make sure that they listen to this show, because I know there's a real fear there. There's a real fear about that kind of stuff there with them. So I find that, that's a very comforting way to look at the whole experience that people may have had. Now, is the Greys the only ones who have come and done that out of all of the other species to us, to humans?
Nope. Melissa,
Nope.
There are so many, it's impossible to count. And
Wow.
I will say, here's a very fascinating piece.
Okay.
That our oceans here on Earth are deeper than any of us know, than any of our scientists have thus found out. I believe our governments know this, but they're deeper. And I'll tell you one of the things that takes place in the very depths of our oceans. There are many species who have created bases in our oceans and are doing all sorts of experiments down there. And they're very wonderful, benevolent scientists doing their things, creating the dolphins, creating the octopus, and all sorts of life forms we probably can't conceive of visually. They don't even want to be bothered with humans. They're not here to be connected with us at this time, but they're here to do their work there. And so, yes, there are tons of hybridization programs. And if you go to the fact that many species, including Earth, are inherently, what we are is creators. We're so interested in being creative. You look at all the cloning programs, we have unbelievable, that they're recreating the woolly mammoth right now here on Earth.
I know.
So
I know.
Right? They're bringing that old wolves that don't exist anymore, all these old animals. So if we are able to do it, believe me, these advanced species are as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of footage where you'll see a spacecraft and it disappears into the ocean. And they're saying there's a lot of that going down below because we can only go so far in the craft that we have because of the pressure of the water and everything. So we don't really know how deep it really goes and what's down there, which is super interesting. Why are other species so fascinated with Earth sustaining itself? I mean, I try to take myself out of it. If I'm looking at the planet Earth and I'm seeing all the craziness, and I'm a very advanced species, right, somewhere else, and and we're peaceful people, or peaceful species, or whatever. Looking at Earth, well, why do I care about them? Look at what they're doing. Why do they care about us?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it gives one pause. If I were to look down and see the madness, how would I feel? And also, dualistically, there's an enormous amount of beauty here. There's people like yourself who are really doing good work. There's people like your listeners who hold the light. And if you were to stop and think, if my cousin and uncle started having a hard time and maybe doing things I didn't particularly agree with, would I abandon them at that time?
Right.
And the answer probably for most of us very good people is,
No,
I'd probably try to find ways to help them and to make sure they make it to the other side, because I would rather see them thrive and be a contributing member of a society. And it really is that way for them. Can I break down some genetics for you for a moment?
Absolutely. I would love to learn. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm riveted right now. Go ahead.
Beautiful. Thank you for being so open. Francis Crick was the man who discovered our DNA. Imagine there was no such thing before. And then this man discovered and won a Nobel Prize for discovering DNA. When he starts taking apart all of the components of DNA, Francis Crick, at a time this was not popular to say, said to the public, this is impossible that this came from Earth. This is so complex. It shows that there has been some manipulation to human DNA over time from ancient times, and I believe it comes from the extraterrestrials. So that's where we begin. Now, you're going to fast forward here to more modern times. We have a company that is called the Human Genome Project, and you've got these brilliant scientists working again on what is genetics, what is DNA, and taking a look. And they come to find when they go microscopic, they're finding that there are mathematical equations in our genes, in our DNA. There are pictographs like you would find on a rock somewhere from 100,000, 450,000 years ago that are inherent in our DNA, in our genetics. And they are showing that they are literally beacons. They are communication devices that have been implanted since the beginning of time from advanced civilizations, not just on Earth, but these advanced civilizations were spreading life all throughout the galaxies. And it is said not just that we are from Lyra. You could go back to Anunnaki times when we were one kind of species, and the Anunnaki arrived, decided, there's a whole story around it that's fascinating, but to cut to the chase, the Anunnaki said we must change their genes so they'll do some work for us. They wanted us basically to mine for them. And they were very successful, but they did also not so good things in changing our genetics because we weren't living as long. We weren't able to bear children. So many species from the galaxy came to our aid. And although there were thousands of us that loved us and said, we're going to help out the humans, we had become humanoid at that point, but specifically, they were the felines, they were the reptilians, they were the avian, they were the bird people, they were the high light beings of Lyra, dedicated their genetics to us so we would become who we literally are right now. When you ask, why us? Why would anybody care? Because we are those uncles. We are those cousins. We are those brothers, sisters, mothers, children of them. And they want us to survive. And it was our soul's mission that we would do so in this lifetime.
Oh, I love that. You explain it so well too, Debbie. Like you make it really easy because it's very complicated, but you make it very easy to follow and understand. So I really appreciate that because I'm sure a lot of people, this is like the first time they're hearing this. This is like wild, and the way you describe it, you can follow the train. So I really, really appreciate that. Now I'm curious what they are thinking now about the planet in herself, the climate change, the what's going on our Earth, the volcanoes, the hurricanes, the storms, the flooding, the fires. It's like progressing, and the heat. Do they have the technology to help us with that, or are they waiting for us to wake up? Like, what is going on with that?
Yep, they have the technology. They will not give it to us. And it's not because they don't love us. Why won't they give it? Because we are a planet of free will.
Right.
We made that choice. Everything I choose, I will create. That is the life I'm going to choose. And you are, my dear, a manifestation coach, right? So you know this better than anyone. Everyone who's listening, your thoughts are that powerful. Your beliefs are that powerful. If the earth is showing up in a way, if your relationships are showing up in a way, we have got to dig deep. We are living in a time that literally is asking us the question, my darling, what no longer serves you? It is circumstances, situations, people, but it's also us. If there was ever a time to do the projection shadow work rather than that government, those people, this earth, no, we must go inside. And where is that living in us? And it's usually deep and profound. And when you will cry it out and be responsible for how it's showing up, that is where the change comes. We can do this. The only time the benevolent extraterrestrials, will ever interfere, and they will.
Nuclear.
You got it, girl. And they have. Yeah. I know people who have been in the military who have sat with me and told me the stories of when someone in government told them to press a button and everything shut down.
I've heard that.
They can't have. And then it's bigger than us. Because if we think nuclear war will just destroy us or a country, no. It is so catastrophic, it will go out the entire world, galaxy, and galaxies upon galaxies. That they will not permit. But other than that, they will love us. They will guide us. They are here for us. Even beings who live subterraneously right now. This is a subject I am deep into at the time. But there are beings who have been here since the beginning of time, and they are here for a moment like this to show us the way. And they, it's so simple what love can do. I keep thinking about this every day. I have a little thing. If I'm in a situation where somebody is driving so slow, it makes me nuts. I always say to my partner, I bet they're pregnant. Or if they're driving too fast, I'm like, I bet they're pregnant and they have to get to the hospital. Let's just get out of the way and let them go. I have these things that I make up to have compassion for other people and just put love in the world and tolerance. And I think if we all did that in so many different ways, that alone, these are big drops in the bucket.
Yeah, I agree. I think all the time, and I laugh when they say, oh, they can control like storms. They can make storms come and they can control this, they can control that. I always think, well, no, not the way you think. But if collectively, the world got together and imagined the earth that we want, we would actually change the storms, the weather, the floods, the fires. Right? It would change because of what we did as a collective whole, sending love to the planet and and imagining healing and imagining everything thriving and everything blossoming. We would actually change our world in that way. So it's just fascinating. And I kind of like already knew the answer you were going to give me, but I just wanted to get some confirmation and then share it with everybody else. Now, what about the animals? Are there animals that have said, are there extraterrestrials telling you this, that animals who are, we have a lot of extinctions happening in a rapid way. Are they leaving the planet and saying, we're done, our work here is done? Like we came to do what we had to do and now we have to leave? Like, why is that happening?
Yeah, I think it's actually part and parcel of what's happening to the planet, and it's what we're doing. When nature is out of balance, then we have the fires and the storms and the floods, etc. When nature is out of balance, the animals cannot live on it, and so they die, literally.
Right.
And to go back to what you just said, because it's so important, yes, visualize, yes, put it out there, yes, take action, because we keep using Earth like she is a resource. Earth is not a resource. She's a goddess that allows us to live on her.
Exactly.
And to start treating her with respect, with reverence, to stop dumping, stop polluting, stop using, stop mining. You know, I've even become sensitive. I'm someone who loves crystals, loves beautiful jewelry with gems. But Melissa, I've gotten to the point where I keep thinking about mining the earth. Do I need another crystal? Do I need something else or to support that industry? And so I think it's important to start thinking in terms like that and realizing there are ways instead to contribute to her. She needs that. And that's why we're experiencing a lot of the tragedies right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I do a morning meditation, and I'm always sending the frequency of love and healing to the planet, like as in little, they show up in my mind's eye as little ice crystals because they cool the planet down. And it's just like trillions of them are just going in the oceans and the trees and the soil. And that's just how I kind of do my own visualization. That's just my way of doing it. And I find it very powerful, and I feel really good in the morning after I do it. So, you know, whatever ways we can contribute to the healing of the planet is obviously great for our species to survive, which we want to do that. So, Deb, I have to ask you about your you have this thing that you give to people. It's a starseed video and a report. Can you share a little bit what that is? Because I'm sure people are going to be really interested in this.
Yeah. You know, I decided, because so many people think, where am I from? What kind of starseed am I? What does that mean about who I am right now here on this earth? About what I look like physically, what job I have, what my proclivities are, all of it. So first, I got together with a woman who is a genius. Many of you might already know, Debbie Solaris. We created a 2-hour video, and it goes through so many species and explains so much. And people start identifying, oh my God, that is so me. I already know this is who I am. This makes so much sense. So she is a galactic historian. It is a beautiful, edifying deep dive. And then I added this report so people could also visually, word-wise, have the breakdown of all the different species. I'm giving it away for free because people are awakening so quickly right now, coming into this information, and I want them to have access to this library for free.
Oh, yeah. So you guys, if you want it, you got to go to her website, DebbiDachinger.com and /starseed. And that's where you can access that. I'm going to actually get it myself. I was looking at it earlier before we came on, and I was like, oh, I gotta go and grab myself one of those. So
Awesome.
Debbie, is there,
you know how you like it.
oh, I'm sure I'll love it. So is there anything that we didn't get a chance to share that you really think is important, or anything that you want to let people know? And Debbie also has her own podcast, Dare to Dream, and people can listen to that. And you talk a lot about this stuff on your podcast, right?
Absolutely, I do. I have a lot of people who channel extraterrestrials and so forth. Very profound, cutting edge. Thank you for asking. You know, I want to give people a way to do the shaman work and have the profound experience. I lead them through a galactic shamanic experience once a month. It's always at the same place to register. Every month, go to DebbiDachinger.com/healing, and it's Debbie with an I, Dachinger with a C. So it's DebbiDachinger.com/healing, and you can join any month. And I take people through a 75 to 90-minute healing experience. And then I'll mention, I speak so many places, but I'll mention one. I am going to be speaking aboard a mystery school at sea cruise to Greece and Turkey. We're going for 10 days. I'm so excited to Greece and Turkey, March 2026. Please join us. Profound presenters, and we're visiting all the big sites for mystery school experiences, and that's mystery school at SEAC.com. And of course, all you have to do is leave a deposit to get your cabin. Just fill out the registration form, and they ask you to click on a name. You must have a referral, so of course, click on Debbi Dachinger. And I can't wait to see you guys. People are already reserving the cabins for March 2026 to Greece and Turkey.
Oh my God, that sounds so fun. That sounds like it's going to be a great experience. Is this the first time you've ever done a cruise like this? Is this the first time you've ever done one? Or do you do it every year?
This is the second one they've invited me to. The producers, we did one to the Yucatan last year. It was a Galactic Origins cruise. It was so unbelievable an experience. You become very close to people. First of all, on the cruise, then you get all the presentations are included. You get to meet people. When you guys see the speakers, by the way, on this cruise, you're going to go, oh, this is next level. This is not
oh my God.
They're the big ones you hear, on all the shows and a huge following. So we include everything, plus the food, plus you get to go to all these extraordinary excursions and have some of the greatest experts lead you through it.
Oh, that sounds fantastic, guys. Thank you so much, Debbi. I loved our conversation. Guys, check her out, and you can learn so much more. Thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.